Street Fighter 6 is the game that got me into fighting games, and probably into tier list making in general, and making rankings overall. Now, this game, I really enjoy, but I'm not doing a regular tier list based off of, like, how strong the characters are in game. No. That's too boring, that's too overdone. I'm doing a list on how strong the characters are within the lore of the games, which took way longer than I would like to admit to actually get the information on, because this game does not provide you much, because the story mode is based around you. It's based off the player character. And an honorable mention will go to the player character, because you can't really accurately rank them due to them being essentially just OCs that you can play as in the video game that are canon to the lore. But anyway, let's hop into the video, starting with the bottom of the list. The weakest character, number 22, is going to be Aki. And I have her down here for really one of two reasons. Lack of feats and lack of good statements that put her anywhere above any character on this list who has more feats, more statements, or the arcade modes give them at least somewhere to scale to. Aki has none of that. A student of Fong, and I'm not gonna be honest, he would get folded by any character currently in the roster, with the exception of like one person. And it's not, you can't even fairly say that Aki is stronger than him at this point. So I have her solidly at the bottom of this list. And next up we get to number 21, the monkey man himself, Blanca. Now before you get mad at me, not being in the base roster of a game since 2008 will make him go a bit lower than he usually would be. Now while he does have more feats than Aki, which does put him higher than her, he doesn't have the statements against stronger characters that anyone else has on this list to put him anywhere higher than 21. But I do still like Blanca, and he is still really powerful due to his electricity powers, and the fact that he's just, well, a giant green Hulk monkey thing that can curl into a ball and fly at your head at who knows how fast. And sadly has very little, if any, significant wins or fights against strong opponents that would really push him up any farther than this. And yes, I'm intentionally trying to breeze through these earlier sections because I don't want this video to be 25 minutes long when my usual videos are like less than 1 minute. Now we go from 21 to 20 with the next contender, E Honda, who has been in all but one Street Fighter game, and even then was added in a later version, but despite having a lot of feats and a lot of statements, still ranks here because he's like the Vegeta of the Street Fighter universe. He gets whooped a lot, and I mean a lot. He's been whooped by Balrog, Zangief, Ryu, Ken, Luke in his arcade ladder, pretty much Lily too, Dalsim, Guile, Cammy, Chun-Li. Yeah, E Honda, despite being pretty old, is pretty consistently one of the weaker characters in the series. Because yeah, he's old. Yeah, he's been in the series for a long time. That doesn't help when your record is like 2-45. Next up, coming in at 19 and 18 respectively, we have Marisa and Manon. Now these two are together because in their arcade endings, they pretty much have a bout, and it's unclear who the victor was. In Marisa's, it ends up being her, and in Manon's, it ends up being her. It's really unclear, but it's pretty evident that the two of them are meant to be portrayed as equals, or at the very least, similar to each other in power. And as you can see here with the arcade ending, even after their fight, they're shown to be like equals, where they're both like gassed out. And before someone brings it up, no, Marisa did not fight Zangief. Aside from that tangent, they both beat Blanca and E Honda during their arcade ladders, so that just puts them above those two automatically. And next up, we have number 17, who hurts my soul kind of to put down this low, is going to be Kimberly. I don't say that because I like Kimberly. I say that because that means the character she fought has to be lower than I wanted him to be. Fighting Kimberly makes me want to throw my controller through my wall so hard that it ends up going to my neighbor's house. Now, other than being the bane of my online existence in this game, Kimberly does have some pretty good feats, like being able to best Marisa, Manon, and Blanca, but she kind of stops at one character who will be number 16, and I'll get to him in a bit. And I am breezing through this section because seeing this character on my screen makes me want to throw my microphone through my computer, into a wristwatch. Okay, that's 7 characters done. Okay, 6 characters done. Now let's see how many more I have left. Oh, this is gonna take a while. I regret this now. Avoiding the midlife crisis, let's get into the best character in this entire game. Number 16, the main man himself, DJ. Now, despite him being by far my favorite character in this entire franchise. He sadly has to be put all the way down here at number 16, despite my second least favorite character in the franchise, who is right above him. I don't like it either, but he's going to have to be there. Anyway, yeah, DJ is pretty strong and has consistently beaten the likes of E Honda, Blanca, and recently in the game beat Kimberly and the likes of Manon, who all are currently below him, as you've, been able to tell. And despite just being a, massive music artist, he is one of the best fighters within the franchise, not just on a technical level, but also within a just, has a life level, because a lot of fighters in this game, I don't know if you've noticed, don't have lives outside of just punching people in the face. Now, moving from my favorite character to my second least favorite character, we have number 15, Dalsim. You know what? I'm tired of trying to do this objective ranking with no jokes. I'm just going to start insulting these characters because I'm done, and this last 5 minutes have been super boring. So you know what? I hate this elongated rat because every single time I try to punch him in the face, he ends up hitting me from half screen away with a down heavy punch. And because of how annoying and pedantic he is, I hope everything he works for crashes and burns in front of his very eyes. I hope that so much. Even though the man is blind. Next up, we have Best Girl Lily. Now, Lily is my second favorite character from Street Fighter 6, first up being DJ and third being Rashid. Now, yes, she is Best Girl, my favorite character in the game, for a few reasons. I ain't getting into those today, though. And you will not catch me, ever, admitting to those reasons on here. But you will find them on my Twitch. That was the most shameless plug I've ever done. But you know what? I'm going to keep going with that. So, yeah, Lily is also, honestly, the most fun character, other than like Rashid or Ed, to play as. And if you want a character that's pretty easy, pretty simple to learn, pick up Lily because she has some of the easiest supers, easiest combos, and some of the easier strings to pull off. And I don't care what anybody else says, this is easily the hottest character in the game. I stand by this. I will take no exceptions to this rule. And oh yeah, she beat Dalsim in her arcade ladder just for the whole power scaling thing again. I forgot about that. And the two strongest newcomers in this game are definitely Popeye the Sailor Man's nephew and weaponized alcoholism. Now, Luke has fought Ryu, apparently, at least giving him a good fight, and Ryu ended up respecting him and realizing he's pretty strong. And Jamie is pretty much equal to Luke. Now, but I don't like both of these characters. I'm okay with Jamie, but Luke's existence makes me kind of uneasy, considering his forms are the size of his torso. Any man's forms that big probably shouldn't be anywhere near humans, considering that definitely isn't one. Now, Jamie belongs in prison for drunk driving, DUI, boxing while under the influence, and just being under the influence at all. Because it says it's a key-enhancing drink, but let's be honest, we all know that whatever he drinks in that gourd is not key-enhancing, that's just liquor. Because key-enhancing drinks don't make you fall out when you're in the middle of a combo string. Because if it did, then your key's already enhanced enough, buddy. Then your key's already enhanced enough. Now that we're done with the embodiment of alcoholism and the embodiment of Popeye the Sailor Man's workout routine, we have what is going to be easily my most controversial take of this entire video, Chun-Li at number 11, which is gonna get me killed. Yes, she is one of the most accomplished martial artists within the series of Street Fighter. I'm not saying she isn't. I know full well that she is. And don't get me wrong, she could give anyone above her a run for their money, or even maybe beat them in certain occasions. But say it's out of 10, she would lose at least 6 times out of 10 to anyone above her. And she does have some impressive feats, like taking down M. Bison at one point, though that was a weakened version of him after jumping him with the likes of Ken, Ryu, Guile, and Cammy, but is usually depicted as one of the weaker of the 5 of them. And considering the newer cast members that have been introduced and some of the feats that Zangief, Cammy, and Guile have gotten since Street Fighter 4 and 3, Chun-Li sadly gets pushed down towards the bottom of the original rankings. And now for the spokesperson of Hot Topic and skincare routines, we have the brutal boxer trained by Balrog, Ed. The only character in this game who I genuinely like with a horrible haircut and design, because Jesus, that hair is horrendous. Now, despite growing stronger since SF5, and at one point he was even able to contend with the likes of Akuma, everyone else has shown to get stronger, and he has not, actually. In fact, it seems like he's gotten a bit weaker, maybe, even, considering he's been on the run for a good while, it seems like, even running from Neo Shadaloo goons in his intro sequence in the game. Now, I do have Ed low below here, but I do think that everyone from Ed and above is a genuine contentious fight, no matter who it is. So it could go either way in a fight between any of them. Like Chun-Li, if given the right circumstances, could probably take down who, like number 3 or maybe number 4 or 5. Not 2 or 1, but definitely 3, 4, or 5. Next up at number 9, we have the hero of America and the last person of the Western Hemisphere, the main man himself, the Hurricane Boy, Guile, with his grotesque arm size and way too tight of a hoodie. Now, he's usually portrayed as the weakest of the 4 main Street Fighter characters, those being Ryu, Chun-Li, Cammy, and Guile. But recently, due to Chun-Li's inactiveness and, taking care of a child, he has gotten stronger. And as far as we know, Chun-Li hasn't, so that puts Guile above her and Ed solidly, mainly due to his having, more feats. Also, because Ed is up here off of mostly speculation. If we just go by feats, he's like 12 or like 13. Anyway, back to America's pride and joy, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy, Guile. He is definitely one of the stronger Street Fighter characters, and he's usually portrayed to be at least decently powerful in the series, taking on characters like Dhalsim, Honda, or even Zangief and Chun-Li when they first met back in the World Martial Arts Tournament. Now, leaving from one of the banes of my online existence in this game to one of my favorite characters to play and fight against, we have the Korean crack addict Juri, who, if she wasn't in a horrible state of mind in the entirety of this game and was mentally deteriorating, she would be much higher, likely like 5 or 4 maybe even. But due to just kind of wasting away in alley in a shawl, she has not gotten weaker, but she also hasn't gotten stronger, which everyone above her at this point has definitely done. So, which is why I have her below the likes of, whoever's right above her. But I do have her above the likes of Chun-Li and Guile, due to them in almost all of their fights being vastly outmatched and outclassed by her, to the point to where she was at one point straight up just bullying Chun-Li and Cammy. But I do have Cammy above her, which feels weird to say, considering she has consistently shown to beat her and whoop her in all their fights. But just due to the mental state thing, I have to put her below Cammy. Speaking of which, we have the British person who probably isn't actually British, Cammy, who, due to, actually trying to get stronger, due to, being a spy, and all of her, escapades that she's had over the past, 5, 7, 10 years since Street Fighter 5 and 3 probably, she has definitely gotten stronger, and you can see that through her moves, considering she turns into a literal bullet during her level 3 super art, and it is the coolest thing in this game. Now, aside from being one of the many women that one of my favorite content creators actively sims for, Cammy is one of my favorite characters in this game, not because of her design, no, but because of the fact that she is a body like Ed, as she was meant to be a kind of vessel for the likes of M. Bison. She chose not to, after one of the weirdest retcons to ever happen, and I'm glad it was retconned, because that was a really weird time. Next up, for the character who I am most uncertain on his placement in this entire ranking, the beautiful Pakistani man that he is, my glorious king, my glorious Wind Emperor, Rashid, whose placement this high is based off of 2 things, really. His arcade ladder and his arcade ending. His arcade ending ended with him and Ryu having a battle. His arcade ladder had him beat everyone below him and one character above him. When he fought, though, Ryu, he had a fight with him, and it's implied that they went all out, and it's unknown who the winner was. So if you think that Rashid won that fight, he's number 2. If you think that he lost that fight, he's still number 5. And I honestly have him at 5, because I just think his abilities are way stronger than almost anyone else's in this game, considering, to my knowledge, no one else here can summon whirlwinds, hurricanes, teleport, all in one move, and can also just conjure straight up spires of wind that will hurt you way more than they reasonably should. Like in his level 3 art right here, you can see him kick you in the chest so many times that you don't know what's happening, and then surf you down onto a camera. I also forgot to mention that in his arcade ladder and endings, he does end up beating Chun-Li, Guile, Juri, and Cammy, so he does scale above them. And then we have the worst villain in Street Fighter history, JP, who I'm just not giving a section, because I don't like him as a character and as a character in the game. And you will see eventually why I have him this low, but I'm not going to give you reasons, because I don't like seeing him on my screen, I'm not going to keep recording over his section, so goodbye. Then we have a character who I actually like playing as, and I actually like fighting, and a character I enjoy, who, exists. The main Russian man himself, Zangief, who with 1 feat puts him above almost every single cast member in this entire game, which is him towing a submarine through the Arctic ice caps. And some of the people he's beaten are, well, I don't know, let's just say, almost every single character on the Street Fighter V roster select screen. The only ones he didn't beat were Seth, Gil, Ken, and Ryu. And Seth and Gil were just because he didn't get to fight them. He probably would have won, and he didn't get to fight Ken, but he fought Ryu and ended up kinda losing, along with his long lose streak against Ryu. And if you're looking for any more than that, you don't need it. Get bent. This is a 7-foot-tall, 400-pound Russian tank. You think you really need much reason as to why he should be as strong as he is, or as high on this list as he actually is? Get bent. Next up on this list, which is this really, really long video, Jesus, we have number 3, Ken Masters, who is this high because he acknowledges that he could beat JP and went over to Nishal and ended up beating him. And if you're wondering why there's no Ken footage in the background, it's because, well, I couldn't find any Ken footage. I couldn't find any footage for him this entire time, so we're just going to roll with the punches and keep going. So he's beaten JP, he's beaten Zangief before, hasn't fought him recently. There's no really thing that says that Zangief could beat him or couldn't, so I have these two pretty close together. And he has overall beaten every character below him, other than, I believe he hasn't fought Ed before. Everyone else, though, he has fought and beaten at least once in the entire series. And now we have number 2 on this list, is almost done. Thank everything. We have Ryu. Now what can I say about him that hasn't already been said or stated? He survived an island blowing up in his face. He survived attacks from Akuma, who can blow up a meteor. He survived fighting Akuma, has at one point beaten Akuma, though they both have gotten stronger, and Akuma has arguably gotten stronger than Ryu at this point. He has just been the strongest fighter consistently. He's also beaten Bison, Ken, Zangief repeatedly, Chun-Li, Guile, Cammy. He's just routinely the strongest character other than Akuma, and occasionally M. Bison or a random villain that just appears, but this time he is not weaker than the villain, because JP is definitely not as strong as Ryu is in this game. Because this is arguably the most powerful we have ever seen him, and also the oldest we've seen him, because this wandering hobo still has the hands and can still give you the work any day and time. Whew, okay, finally, at the last character of this very, very long video that has taken me way too long to edit and make, we have numero uno, the one and only Akuma. A man who's punched out mountains, blown up meteors, and has done so much more outlandish things that I don't think I can actually name them all without this video being a half-hour long. But some of his other stuff includes, fighting anything that moves and anything that tries to breathe near him in a semi-threatening manner, including Akali, who was essentially an Aztec fighting god of the Street Fighter universe. Imagine like Ogre from Tekken, but worse and much, much less powerful or threatening, and able to decimate this giant Oni statue with a single Shoryuken. So yeah, Akuma is without a doubt the strongest Street Fighter 6 character, and I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like the video, subscribe to the page if you like the video, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more uploads, shorts or longer videos, and I will see you all in the next one. Do not forget to follow my Twitch, twitch.tv/BANN73. I will see you all next time. Also, I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in the evening on EST.